A wedding and a death hit Rosewood on this episode of Pretty Little Liars. Let's break it down right here on What Happened. What's up, you lovely people? Welcome back to my recap show, Pretty Little Liars edition. So this episode, titled Hold On To Your Peace, I feel like a lot happened, yet not a lot happened at the same time, if that makes sense. These first few episodes of the season have honestly been kind of slow and really not given any hints or answers, and I feel like this episode is a little bit more of the same, but either way, let's run through it. Let's start with Spencer. So she spends this episode getting a bit closer to Detective Fury, and I'm trying to figure out just how old his character is supposed to be, because in real life, Nicholas Gonzalez is like 41, and that's quite a huge age gap. I guess Spencer likes older dudes, but I'm just still trying to honestly figure out if I like him or not. Well, these two run into each other at the brew, and he convinces Spencer to hang out with him for the day. They both just need to kind of clear their heads of everything that's going on, so they go to this kind of community center thing where he ended up growing up, going to, and he's rented out the rec room so that they can play ping pong all day. Romantic, right? I don't know, it actually kind of sounds fun. They bond over stories about their parents, and when Spencer's wound starts bleeding, he cleans it up, and they, of course, play some suckface together. It also looks like Fury has a friend who's willing to help Spencer track down Mary Drake, but Spencer says maybe she should just focus on the people who aren't missing in her life right now. Allison is out of town in this episode taking care of stuff to kind of, I think, annul her marriage or something to Rollins, so there's no Allie drama at this time, so let's move right on over to Aria and Emily. These two are convinced that Sydney holds the answers they're looking for when it comes to Jenna, possibly AD, the game, so they team up and discover that Sydney was at the same charity gala that the senator's daughter, Catherine Daly, was at, who was wearing Hannah's design. Now I'm going to talk about that a little later, but basically blogs are saying Hannah stole that dress design. The two find a picture that shows Sydney behind Catherine on the red carpet snapping a pic on her phone, looking all creepy back there, and this immediately says to them, hey, she's that anonymous source who told that Runway Rebel blog that Hannah's a thief. The two are outside now of Sydney's office, and magically in one day Aria has turned into like this master hacker who knows what all the equipment is called and all the jargon, and it's super believable, right? She tells Emily that Caleb gave her a quick lesson that morning, and I'm pretty sure you just can't learn all that in one morning, even if Aria does say she catches on to things fast. Something fishy here, right? Emily goes to talk to Sydney so that Aria can hack into her phone, and Sydney says that Jenna has roped her back into doing all of this by saying it was going to be a practical joke, and all she did was send drinks to Caleb and Mona. She never thought it would get this out of hand. And Sydney then says that she and Jenna drifted apart after high school, but they reconnected, and this is the last favor she's gonna do for Jenna. And then Sydney tells Emily this.
I know there's a lot of bad blood between you and your friends and Jenna. I answered a phone call from an old friend and got sucked into a lot of high school drama. What's your excuse?
Well, good point there, Sydney. Back in the car, they see that Sydney kind of has lied to Emily about where she's going off to. She's not going off to yoga. Instead, she goes to the Vogel Vision Institute, so they follow her there and listen into her conversation and find out that Sydney is dropping off a payment for eye surgery for Jenna, and she doesn't want a receipt for the payment. When the receptionist asks who made the deposit, Sydney says just write down AD. For anonymous donor, because, AD stands for a million things. Then when Sydney leaves the building, she gets an anonymous text asking if she did it, and she says, it's done. This leads Aria and Emily to confront Sydney again, and we see feisty Aria emerge, a little bit of darkness there. When Sydney doesn't give her the answer she wants, she slams her against the wall, takes her bag, and it's like Aria might be small, but she is mighty and you do not want to mess with her. Sydney then tells them she doesn't know anyone with the initials AD, but she just represents an account holder who wanted to remain anonymous. Well, why does this account holder want anything to do with Jenna? She says if you can't find Jenna, it's because Jenna doesn't want to be found, and Jenna has even been avoiding her calls. She then tells Tweedledee and Tweedledum that if they're smart, they'll stay away. When she leaves, we learn that Aria has dropped a GPS tracker in Sydney's bag, so later on in the episode when the girls are at the hospital checking up on Caleb, which I'll talk about more soon, the tracker goes off and Emily heads off to take first watch in tracking Sydney. I am still truly not liking the fact that they're bringing back the most random characters, I feel like Holden and Sydney, but in their eyes, maybe these characters aren't so random, they have connections we're supposed to be paying attention to. I don't know, either way, it's kind of hard to tell at the moment, and I just know I never really liked Sydney either, almost as much as Paige, and there's just so many things going on. I don't need a lot of characters coming back, or new characters, PLL. Moving on to probably the most heartbreaking part of the episode, we learn that Yvonne is out of her coma, and when Toby's trying to help her with some physical therapy to see where she's at, he gives her this ball to squeeze and transfer it from hand to hand. He breaks out the wedding rings and says, let's get married now. And it's kind of sweet because Yvonne, puts the ball down, shows that she can pick up the rings, and she puts it on his finger and says, I do. The two do end up getting married in the hospital room, and all seems fine and dandy, but you know this is PLL and no one truly gets a happy ending, at least for now, right? Toby is sitting having a conversation with Yvonne about where she really wants to go, where they should travel to, all the things they should see, and it's all really sweet, and then Toby asks her if she's happy. Then she just softly says she's happiest, and all of a sudden, it just goes quiet. We see her hand fall, the bouquet fall to the ground, and it's all of a sudden, it's like, what? Spencer goes to check on Toby. He walks into the hallway. You can tell there's devastation on his face. He falls to the ground into her arms, and yeah, Yvonne is dead all of a sudden. Like, that was kind of fast. She seemed okay when she got out of her coma. There was no real signs that anything bad was happening. In fact, we thought she was actually on the up and up, but she wasn't. And as heartbreaking as it is for Toby, I feel like they had to have let Yvonne wake up and her get married to Toby just to complicate Spoby, right? Like, now that Yvonne is out of the picture, does that mean that those Toby and Spencer will now get closer and bond over this devastation? I mean, we do know that most, if not all, the couples are endgame, right? So is this the beginning of the reconciliation of their relationship? Either way, you gotta say it, R.I.P. Yvonne. Now, when it comes to the evil board game, it is Hanna's turn to play. In the beginning of the episode, the phone starts crying with a cartoon baby on the screen, drives Spencer crazy all night. No matter what she does, she can't get it to stop. She finally calls the girls over and they eventually, the phone stops crying and it says, "Play with me, Hanna." So, yep, Hanna's turn to play this game. Hanna is actually riding high for a bit in this episode because Caleb returns home with the newspaper, which shows Catherine Daly on the front page of the style section in the outfit that she designed. Hanna's then like, let's check the style blog, see what people are saying about me, and Emily sees this one blogger known as the Runway Rebel has a headline saying that the design Hanna did is a stolen design. Caleb and Hanna end up later returning to the apartment so Caleb can grab more GPS trackers for Aria to track Sydney, but we do hear that one of his bags is missing, which we don't ever talk about again, so has someone taken their equipment? Maybe it's not a big plot point. I have no idea. But while he's in the other room, Hanna gets a message from the game saying answer the door. She hesitates long enough that Caleb walks out, opens the door, and sitting out there is this creepy-ass mannequin with Hanna's face sewn onto it. Where does AD get these creepy ideas? AD is really a master at creating these replicant faces. Hanna is basically now forced to tell Caleb about the game, and he's determined to figure out how this whole thing works. He also noticed that there's a string on the mannequin and it talks, so he pulls and it says, "For more information, see the appendix." And immediately I'm like, oh, the appendix, like, the body part or whatever inside you down there, but that's not what Hanna's thinking at first, and she ends up going to look in the appendices of all these books in her apartment. But before she goes to look through those books, Lucas shows up to tell her that the investors they're supposed to meet with about their business have heard about this Runway Rebel article, so now Hanna's freaking out even more. Lucas says the investors probably just need some reassurance, he should show them some new designs, and he sees there's a mannequin over in the corner with a sheet on it, which is the creepy mannequin. And he's like, "Hey, can I see your new designs?" And he starts to go over to uncover it when Hanna manages to stop him and says, "I'm not finished. Give me this afternoon, I'll get you some new stuff." While Hanna is searching through her books, Caleb cannot figure out how to get inside this game. Hanna figures out eventually that she has to cut into the doll, so she lays the doll down on this white sheet on the table, grabs a huge knife all Dexter style, slices into the thing, and of course, fake blood just starts spewing out. And at least I hope it was fake blood. Honestly, like I said, whoever made this game is super smart, but also kind of demented, yet in a way, it was really cool. They pay attention to those details. But Hanna ends up finding a bag inside with a dress in it that says, "Wear me." So it turns out the investors are from Japan, so they will definitely be offended by this outfit that AD wants Hanna to wear. Caleb's like, "What if you refuse to play this game?" And Hanna just kind of gives him a look, and Caleb, being all smart like he is, miraculously figures it out like this, that AD knows about Rollins, that she killed him, that she could go to jail. So Caleb is just like, okay, I'm going to continue on my quest to figure out how this game works. Hanna then puts on the dress, shows up at the Radley for her meeting with Lucas and the investors, and she has this rack of designs and she's trying to hide her outfit in this trench coat. She knows things are about to go wrong, so she thanks Lucas for everything, and, she says, "Whatever happens, please promise me that we'll be friends," and Lucas is a little confused, but it's like, of course. Then Hanna gets a text saying Caleb's in the hospital, so Lucas insists that she go tend to him, so Hanna runs off, but why is Caleb in the hospital? Well, Caleb is at Spencer's trying to pick apart the game when Spencer arrives home, surprised to find him there. He explains that he can't seem to hack this game or pop the top off, and he's trying to lift up the buildings. Maybe that's how he can get into it. These two end up having a nice conversation. They move past the awkwardness of, the relationship they used to have, and he's like, how are you doing? Spencer tells him about this guy that she met, and he's like, oh, it's a Detective Fury. I noticed some things going on between you two. And then Caleb sweetly asks if Detective Fury is good to her because that's what Spencer deserves. And it's like, Caleb, stop being so damn perfect. Caleb then manages to pop the church building off the game, only to be shot in the eye with some kind of gas or something, and he falls to the couch choking, so Spencer calls 911. Seriously, whoever, once again, the game maker, damn genius. Is it the same people that made the Hunger Games? Because, they've thought of literally everything. Also, doesn't this game see, kind of know all? Is it gonna punish Caleb in the future, or punish the girls for them letting someone else know about this game? In the hospital, Caleb explains that the stuff made him not only be able to talk, but he couldn't breathe or think. He also had to lie to the doctor because he couldn't really tell him the truth about this. It's a game that blinded me or whatever. He asks Hanna, what's gonna happen now since you skipped your meeting? Is this kind of like skipping your turn in the game? What are the consequences gonna be? Well, out in the waiting room, Spencer tells the other girls that there's no way Hanna could not tell Caleb about this game when Hanna walks out to meet them and shows them the message on the game phone that she got saying, hey loser, say goodbye to your prize. So now the girls are like, what happens to your puzzle piece? And Hannah's still in a pissy mood, and she says, this isn't fair because all Spencer had to do was go visit a friend. I had to put my whole career on the line. And Emily's like, this is exactly what this game wants. It wants to be unfair, to throw us off balance and keep us bickering, to throw us off, keep us distracted from what we should really be looking for. So now it's like, what does this game have in store for Aria and Allison, who still have to play the game? And will Hanna get another turn to find her puzzle piece? What happens if she doesn't and they get all the puzzle pieces but that one? The episode closes with two kind of big scenes. First, Aria is on the phone leaving Ezra a message about how Sabrina quit the brew, so she needs to find another baker and doesn't know how to run this business, and she just really needs to talk to him. And now that we know that Sabrina is out of the picture, it looks like Allie and Emily can probably get closer. Anyway, we kind of see the shadow behind Aria, like a head that seems to be moving and getting up, and of course getting creepy. Aria hears it, grabs a knife, turns on the light, and it reveals Nicole with her cast. And it's like, why the hell is Nicole sitting on the couch in the dark? And where the hell is Ezra? Oh, and I forgot to mention that earlier in the episode when Aria was at Hanna, she did see a TV interview with Nicole where she was saying that one of the only things that helped her survive all of it was love, and how seeing Ezra again gave her hope. So is this now trouble for Ezra now that Nicole's back in the picture physically, like we actually see her? The final scene shows Detective Fury opening a package from AD, although he obviously doesn't know it's from AD, and inside is a dun 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 severed finger. So now the whole mystery is, whose finger is this and what does it mean? I mean, it has to be Roland's finger, right? Alright, so that sums up this episode. I feel like we, once again, didn't learn too much, but we do know someone is paying for Jenna to get another eye surgery, and I'm not sure if Cindy's telling any ounce of truth, and something about Aria is definitely a little bit shady. And now also Alana's gone, but her and Toby did get married, so how is that going to complicate things, and what's going to go on with Toby? Really, just what's next in the season? Well, let's watch the promo for the next episode.
We need each other. We cannot let this game rip us apart no matter what.
It knows exactly what it's doing.
What are the rules for this stupid game anyways?
No one can screw up. Not anymore.
I don't want to lose. I want out.
There are things that you just don't understand.
New answers
Then tell me.
to old mysteries. Find out who killed Mrs. D.
Alright, well, praise the Lord, because it seems like at long last, we are finally gonna start getting those damn answers we were promised. Mr. Hastings is finally back, and then we'll get answers to old questions like who killed Mrs. D. Now, after watching that promo, does that mean that that severed finger was Mrs. D's finger? How on earth did that get uncovered? Has AD been holding on to that thing for however many seasons it's been? And I'm also curious now, what other old questions will we be getting answers to? I feel like there's so many questions I can't even remember what was left open-ended. Now it's time to hit up the comments or my social media with your new AD theories, or continue with explaining the theories that you've already had that you're sticking to? Are you sad that Yvonne is gone? Is it bad that I'm kind of not? I mean, I do really feel bad for Toby because he did love her, but you know, Spoby, endgame, right? I'm also just happy there was no Paige or Addison to really bug me in this episode, but there was Sydney. Why is Nicole back now, and what does this mean for Ezria? But really, did you just like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Do you agree that the season's off to a bit of a slow start? And what answers do you want coming up in this season? All I know is don't let me down, PLL, with these answers. Like, I just keep getting more confused, I feel like. Now, if you want even more from me, my channel, Shine On Media, click over here to check out the brand new trailer for Descendants 2 or my interviews from the RDMAs where the stars talk about the amazing Britney Spears. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything, and high fives to all you awesome subscribers out there. As always, I'm Lisa. Thanks for hanging out with me on what happened right here on Shine On Media. See you soon.